JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Paul will fined $45,000 for gun loss. Member of Parliament for Kingston Eastern and Port Royal, Philip Paulwell, has been fined $45,000 for negligence in the loss of his licensed firearm. The sentence was handed down in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday morning after Paulwell pleaded guilty to the criminal negligence charge laid against him. According to Paulwell, sometime in July, his firearm was stolen from his vehicle in Old Pasture, St. Andrew, after he made an emergency stop. He stated that he made a report to the police the following day and even provided a detailed report to the Firearm Licensing Authority. On November 14, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Paula Llewellyn, announced that Paul is among 5 to be charged with negligence after losing their firearms. Mortar killed in Manchester ambush. The Manchester police are probing the murder of a man who was killed on Tuesday in Broadleaf district in the parish. The deceased has been identified as Marlon Irwin, otherwise called Mortar, a resident of Broadleaf. Broadleaf, a deep rural community, is located south of Porus and east of Royal Flat. Police reports are that about 7 a.m., Irwin was driving his Toyota Axia motor car on the Hampton Main Road when he was attacked by gunmen traveling in another vehicle. The gunmen opened fire, hitting Irwin multiple times. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Gunmen rob Manchester gas station. Police are probing the scene of an armed robbery at a gas station in Knockpatrick, Manchester on Tuesday evening. Preliminary reports are that about 6 p.m., 5 gunmen held up the establishment. During the robbery, pump attendants were reportedly held hostage. A man who was robbed of his cell phone at the gas station described the frightening experience. "I just saw a guy step out with a kerchief covering his mouth. He pointed the gun at the pump attendant saying, 'Give me the money.' So him come over to me and said, 'Give me the phone.' I said to him that he could have it," the man told journalists. "I just want to give God thanks because there's power in the name of Jesus," he added. The gunmen reportedly forced the pump attendant into an adjoining mini-mart where they took an undisclosed sum of cash. They also stole cell phones among other valuables before fleeing in a waiting motor car. Sources say that in recent months, the gas station has been targeted by criminals. Bloody altercation at St. James School leaves student and staff traumatized. A 5-year-old boy says he will not return to school on Wednesday after witnessing the stabbing of a father by his teen son. The child, a student of Eagles Wings Preparatory in Bogue, Montego Bay, St. James, said the blood from the wound received by the man, who is reportedly a pastor, stained his shirt and his pants. His father had to leave his shirt with the school for evidence. The youngster, who spoke in the presence of his parents on Tuesday evening, was traumatized by the experience. "I am scared. I saw the 2 big men fight. They were fighting, and the blood was all over me. They stained me up with all the blood. I was crying. I wanted to go home," he said. His father said he and his son's mother received a message from the school about 12:24 p.m. Tuesday, alerting them that there was a traumatic incident on the compound and they should pick up their children immediately. According to him, the attacker was a 17-year-old past student who he said should not have been allowed on the compound. He accused the school of being negligent. The security was reported in the lunchroom, so the gate was left unattended, he claimed. The father says that although the Ministry of Education is sending grief counselors to the school on Wednesday, this would not be enough for his son. "When we went to the school, our son was shirtless, and although remnants of the blood were wiped from his face, there was blood in his ears, on his hands and pants." According to him, children were being picked up by their parents and they were screaming. He said that he raised concerns in the school's WhatsApp group, and according to him, the principal replied that he should be empathizing with the institution. "If this trauma affects him for years to come, what do we do? He has an injury to his foot, which seems like he was running away from the incident. Based on my understanding, my son was very close to the incident." The school's principal, Consuelo Liam, said there was never a problem with the past student, who she said visits the school from time to time. "The father asked me to call him if his son came here. Not knowing that there was something behind it, I called him. He came to the school and grabbed him in the shirt. I told the father I would not be allowing that behavior in the school," said the principal. "The father was the aggressor," she revealed, adding that as much as his son tried to prevent the altercation, the father persisted. She said she was traumatized as her staff and students because even when the father was unable to access his son, he went into his car to get a pickaxe to do further damage. The 17-year-old was taken into custody and his injured father was taken to hospital by the school's security. Police in Gainesville clamped down on unruly motorcyclists. The Gainesville police in St. Catherine yesterday clamped down on unruly motorcyclists. Sergeant Kenneth McTavish says several bikes were seized for breaches of the Road Traffic Act. At least 7 were seized for excessive noise. McTavish said other bikes were seized because they were unlicensed, as well as because operators did not have a motorcyclist driver's license. We will continue to make the streets safe by continuing to regulate the motorcyclists and have them operate within the law, McTavish said. Several residents commended the police's operation. Sometimes I'm frightened with the loud noise, so we are pleased with the police, Jonathan Melbourne said. It was revealed by the police that last month, 3 motorcyclists were fined over $50,000 for various breaches. 4 men accused of stealing paint in Kingston Central. 4 men were held with a large quantity of stolen tins of paint in the Kingston Central Police Division on Tuesday afternoon. The men were apprehended while offloading the contraband items into a Probox motor car and a Toyota Hiace minivan. According to Beresford Williams, superintendent in charge of Kingston Central Police Division, the men are believed to be the main perpetrators behind a larceny investigation in another police division. Reports are that about 12:45 p.m., members of the police team responded to information that men were unloading stolen items from a truck into 2 other vehicles in the Eero Circle area. The paints recovered are believed to be the subject of a larceny investigation in the St. Andrew Central area. Members of the Halfway Tree CIB are leading investigations in that matter, Williams said. Family desperate to locate missing Clarendon woman. The family of 44-year-old Anne-Marie Messom, otherwise called Ingrid, of Palmer's Crossing, Clarendon, is desperately seeking the public's assistance to locate her. The Mapen police confirmed that Messom, a sales representative, was reported missing on her birthday on November 4. Her mother, Pauline Walters, said that while the family has been on tenter hooks since Messom's mysterious disappearance, they are clinging to hope. According to Walters, she was made aware of her daughter's disappearance via a phone call from overseas. The person called me and said me to see them killing Ingrid because them send money to her and she didn't collect it, Walters said. Quizzed on why the person would suggest her daughter was killed, Walters said she didn't know. Following the phone call, Walters said she went to Messom's home, where she lives with her husband and 2 of her 3 children. Messom's husband confirmed that she left for work on the morning of November 4 but did not return home. Walters said she's yet to contact her daughter's employer, stating that she's unable to disclose the reason. I know something is wrong, because anywhere she goes, she tell her mother, so she don't call me by now, said Walters about her daughter, who also has a 3-year-old. Walters said the family woes are compounded by the fact that members could not revel in the usual festivities. I know something is wrong because anywhere she goes, she tell her mother, so she don't call me by now, said Walters about her daughter, who also has a 3-year-old. Walters said the family's woes are compounded by the fact that members could not revel in the usual festivities on Messom's birthday on November 4. She said Messom's siblings are having a hard time coping with the uncertainties surrounding their sister's whereabouts. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Anne-Marie Ingrid Messom is being asked to contact the Mapen police at 876-986-2208, Messom's family at 876-799-1605, 119 or the nearest police station. Bar operator and bartender arrested after illegal gun seizure. The Westmoreland police seized an illegal gun and ammunition at a bar in Keto District, Springfield in the parish on Tuesday night. The bar operator and the bartender were arrested on charge. They are 53-year-old bar operator Clovis Drummond and 21-year-old bartender Yvette McInnes, both from the community. Reports are that about 10:55 p.m., cops conducted a snap raid at a bar operated by the suspects. During the search, a .38 Taurus revolver with 1.38 casing was found behind a refrigerator inside the bar. Lawyer for embattled attorney Gordon Brown accuses prosecution of manipulation. King's counsel Carolyn Reed Cameron has accused the prosecution of manipulating evidence to try to convict her client Gordon Brown for allegedly obstructing the police's attempts to secure a firearm from businessman Michael Issa on January 13. While delivering closing arguments in the trial at the St. James Parish Court on Tuesday, Reed Cameron urged Parish Judge Sasha Marie Ashley to uphold a previous no-case submission on the behalf of Brown, who is also an attorney at law, on the grounds that the prosecution's case against her client was baseless and without credibility. The circumstances of this case as we see them are very unfortunate, and a lot of what informs the position that has been taken has been informed by misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the circumstances, Reed Cameron said of the prosecution. Brown's charge and subsequent trial stemmed from a matter involving Issa, who is Brown's client, and the stepfather of 9-year-old Gabriel King, the developmentally challenged child who was brutally murdered on January 13. Issa was arrested and charged with negligent loss of a firearm, indecent language, and resisting arrest when he went to make a police report on January 13, hours after his stepson was abducted and killed. The match of Issa's licensed firearm, which went missing on December 17, 2021, and was subsequently found, is unrelated to the child's death. The negligent loss of a firearm charge was eventually dismissed. The match of Issa's licensed firearm, which went missing on December 17, 2021, and was subsequently found, is unrelated to the child's death. The negligent loss of a firearm charge was eventually dismissed. In the case against Brown, he is accused of preventing Issa from being detained by officers at the Montego Bay Police Station's Criminal Investigations Branch office. The attempted detention was reportedly linked to the businessman's failure to turn over his firearm to the police during Tuesday's proceedings. Reed Cameron also stressed that, if convicted, Brown will be liable to pay a $2,000 fine, but added that the recorded conviction could result in him being disbarred. If we do not act in the best interest of our client, that too can be treated as professional misconduct. The police have their jobs to do, but so do we, Reed Cameron noted, stressing that Brown did nothing wrong in his interaction with Issa on January 13. She also called a character witness, a justice of the peace, who testified that he knew Brown to be a man of integrity. The witness said that he had followed Brown to the Freeport police station on March 1 and again on March 9. The witness said that on both occasions, no police personnel informed them of whether Brown was to be charged. Meanwhile, prosecutor Tajara Douglas argued that Brown had in fact obstructed the police in their efforts to detain Issa in contravention of Section 30 of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Act. The question I submit to this court in this matter is whether Gordon Brown on January 13 did obstruct the officer by making it more difficult for him to carry out his duty. Based on the Crown's evidence taken so far, this question has been answered in the affirmative, said Douglas. The ruling will be declared on December 16. Brown's trial began on July 21 with 2 prosecution witnesses, both members of the police force, testifying against him. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.